I thought I knew what betrayal felt like until my own daughter chose the man who abandoned her over the father who raised her. The irony isn't lost on me. My first marriage ended when I caught Sarah with my brother in our bed, the same bed where we'd conceived our dreams of growing old together. That betrayal had edges I could grasp, boundaries I could define. It was crude, obvious, almost honest in its brutality. But what Emily and Lily did to me, that was surgical, precise. They carved out 20 years of my life, with the delicate skill of surgeons, removing a tumor they'd decided was malignant. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about the man I used to be, the one who believed love could be earned through sacrifice, that loyalty could be purchased with devotion. After Sarah's betrayal, I was hollow. 32 years old, sleeping in my office because I'd given her the house, eating takeout over a sink in my one-bedroom apartment. My friends said I'd never trust again. They were wrong. I just needed someone worth trusting. I met Emily at a grocery store. How's that for a cliché? She was standing in the cereal aisle, tears streaming down her face while 3-year-old Lily tugged at her dress, asking for Lucky Charms. Emily's left eye was still yellowed from a fading bruise she'd tried to cover with drugstore concealer. Her ex had left them 2 weeks prior, clearing out their bank account and leaving bruises as parting gifts. "Mommy's just tired." "Baby," Emily told her daughter, but her voice cracked on the word tired. I bought them the Lucky Charms and milk and everything else in their cart. That's how it started. Not with grand romantic gestures, but with small acts of kindness that grew into something bigger. Emily was skittish at first, flinching when I moved too quickly, apologizing constantly for things that weren't her fault. Lily watched me with those huge brown eyes, suspicious and protective of her mother in the way only a child who's seen too much can be. It took 6 months before Emily let me take them to dinner. Another 3 before Lily would sit on my lap during movie nights. The first time she called me Danny instead of Mr. Hayes, Emily cried. The first time she called me Dad, that was 2 years later. Completely unprompted during a parent-teacher conference, I had to excuse myself to the bathroom because grown men aren't supposed to sob in elementary schools. I remember every milestone like they're tattooed on my soul. Teaching Lily to ride her bike in Riverside Park, her pink helmet too big for her head, wobbling down the path while screaming, "Don't let go, Dad! Don't let go!" But I did let go and she flew. She turned back with this expression of pure betrayal that morphed into amazement. "I did it! Dad, I did it myself!" The adoption papers took 18 months to process. Her biological father, let's call him Jake because his real name still tastes like acid in my mouth, had to sign away his rights. He did it without hesitation, probably eager to shed the child support he'd never paid anyway. I framed those papers, hung them in my office between my college diploma and my company's first incorporation certificate. They meant more than both combined. Our life wasn't wealthy, but it was rich. I worked 60-hour weeks to keep us comfortable. Emily wanted to work, but I insisted she finish her degree first. "We're a team," I told her. "You focus on school, I'll handle the bills." She graduated summa cum laude with a degree in social work. She wanted to help women like her former self. Lily excelled at everything she touched. Soccer team captain, honor roll, debate club president. I was at every game, every recital, every award ceremony. When she won the state debate championship at 17, she jumped off the stage into my arms, trophy held high. "We did it, Dad!" Not I did it, we. Because that's what we were, a unit. A family. College acceptance letters came like Christmas morning when she was 18. Yale, Princeton, Columbia, my little girl had her pick. She chose Columbia to stay close to home. "I can't be too far from my dad," she said, and Emily beamed at me over our celebration dinner. I paid every cent of tuition without blinking. Watching her graduate 4 years later, seeing her walk across that stage in her cap and gown, I thought my chest would explode from pride. The engagement came a year after graduation when she was 23. Adrian was a good kid, an investment banker with kind eyes and a firm handshake. He asked for my blessing before proposing, sat in my office nervously fidgeting while making his case. "She's everything to me, Mr. Hayes. I promise I'll take care of her the way you have." "Call me Daniel," I told him. "You're family now." When Lily burst through our door that evening, ring sparkling, she threw herself into my arms. "Daddy, I'm getting married!" Emily and I held her between us. This girl we'd built from broken pieces into something whole and shining. "You can have anything you want for your wedding," I told her, kissing her forehead. "Anything at all." "You deserve the perfect day," she squeezed my hand. "I just want you there. You're going to walk me down the aisle, right?" "I've been dreaming about that since I was little," she said. "Wild horses couldn't stop me." I promised. I told her she could have anything she wanted for her wedding. I had no idea she would take everything except me. The wedding planning consumed me like a fever. I threw myself into it with the same intensity I'd once reserved for building my business. Spreadsheets, vendor contracts, color swatches. My home office looked like a wedding planner's war room. "You're more excited than the bride." Adrian laughed during one of our venue visits. But Lily just smiled that soft smile she'd inherited from Emily and squeezed my hand. "He's just being Dad," she said. And those 3 words made every hour of research worthwhile. I found the perfect venue, Rosewood Manor, a restored plantation house with gardens that looked like Monet had painted them. The booking fee alone was $12,000, but the way Lily's face lit up when she saw it, priceless. I signed the check without hesitation. The band was next. Not a DJ. My daughter deserved live music. I tracked down Azure, a jazz ensemble that had played at the governor's inaugural ball. Their fee was astronomical, but they agreed to learn Lily's favorite songs. I imagined our father-daughter dance to "Isn't She Lovely?", the song I'd hummed to her during those early years when nightmares woke her. That's when I first noticed something was off. "We need to talk about the music," I told Emily over breakfast, showing her the playlist I'd assembled, especially the father-daughter dance. "I'm thinking, let's discuss it later," she interrupted, not meeting my eyes. "Lily has some ideas she wants to run by you." But Lily never brought up those ideas. Every time I mentioned the dance, she'd change the subject. "We have time, Dad. Let's focus on the flowers first," she'd deflect. Or, "Adrian wants to talk about the honeymoon. Maybe you could help with that?" The honeymoon, 2 weeks in Santorini. I'd booked the presidential suite at a clifftop resort, complete with a private infinity pool. The travel agent said it was where celebrities honeymooned. "Your daughter must be very special," she commented. "She is," I replied, booking the full package without checking the price. But the silences grew longer. The meaningful glances between Emily and Lily became more frequent. Phone conversations that ended abruptly when I entered the room. Emily started taking calls in the bedroom, door closed, voice muffled but tense. "Everything okay?" I'd ask. "Just wedding stress," she'd reply. But her smile never reached her eyes anymore. There was the Thursday I came home early with lunch, Thai food from Lily's favorite place, to find them huddled over Emily's laptop, heads together in conspiracy. They slammed it shut when I walked in. "Dad!" Lily's voice pitched high. "You're home early!" "Thought I'd surprise my girls," I said, setting down the food. "What were you looking at?" "Wedding dresses?" "Something like that," Emily said quickly. Too quickly. The distance in their eyes should have been my warning. The way they'd grown careful around me, like I was a sleeping dog they didn't want to wake. But I was too deep in my fantasy of the perfect wedding, the perfect send-off for my perfect daughter. I started a wedding journal, documenting everything for posterity. "For your children," I told Lily, "so they can see how much their mother was loved." She cried when I showed her the first entries, but looking back, those weren't tears of joy. They were tears of guilt. The guest list was another red flag I missed. Emily kept adding names I didn't recognize. People from her side, she said, though I'd never heard her mention them in 20 years. When I asked about them, she was vague. Old friends who want to reconnect. "Isn't it nice that Lily's wedding is bringing people together?" She'd say evasively. "Who are all these people?" Adrian asked during one planning session. "I've never heard Lily mention any of them." "Mom's handling that side," Lily said, and something in her tone made Adrian look at me with concern. But I was too busy calculating catering costs to pay attention. The turning point came 3 weeks before the wedding. I was finalizing the photographer, a woman whose work had been featured in Vogue, when Emily asked if we could have a family talk that evening. "About the wedding?" I asked, excited to share the photographer's portfolio. "In a way," she said, and Lily wouldn't look at me at all. I spent the rest of the day perfecting my presentation. I had everything mapped out: the timeline, the shot list, the locations for portraits. I even had a mock-up of the wedding album with spaces for all the crucial moments. The father-daughter dance, the walk down the aisle, our family portrait, the three of us plus Adrian, the family we'd built from ashes. When they asked me to sit down for that family talk, I thought they were going to thank me for everything I'd done. I never imagined they were about to erase me entirely. They'd arranged the living room like a tribunal. Emily and Lily on the couch, a united front. 2 cups of tea on the coffee table. They hadn't made one for me. That should have been my first clue that this wasn't a discussion. It was a verdict already decided. "Daniel," Emily began, and the use of my full name hit like cold water. She hadn't called me Daniel in years. I was Honey, Babe, or just D. "We need to discuss something important about the wedding," she continued. Her hands were folded in her lap, knuckles white. Lily stared at her own hands, twisting her engagement ring around and around. The diamond I'd helped Adrian pick caught the light, throwing tiny rainbows on the wall, beautiful and sharp. "Whatever it is, we'll figure it out," I said, leaning forward. "Is it the budget? Because I can—" "It's about Jake," Emily interrupted. The name hung in the air like a gunshot echo. Jake, the man who'd blackened Emily's eye. The man who'd abandoned 3-year-old Lily. The man whose parental rights I'd watched a judge terminate with obvious disgust. "What about him?" I managed to keep my voice steady. Lily finally looked up and her eyes were swimming with tears. "He reached out to me, Dad, 6 months ago," she admitted. 6 months. While I was booking venues, while I was tasting wedding cakes, while I was planning the perfect day for my daughter, she was reconnecting with the man who'd thrown her away like garbage. "He's changed," Lily continued, the words tumbling out like a rehearsed speech. "He's been sober for 5 years. He has a job, a family. He's sorry." "Sorry," I repeated, tasting the word, finding it bitter. "He's sorry." "He wants to make amends," Emily added softly, reaching for Lily's hand, a gesture of support that told me everything. They'd discussed this, planned this, decided this together, without me. Part of his recovery program. He needs to make things right with the people he hurt. "The people he hurt," I echoed, looking at Emily's face, searching for the woman who used to flinch at his name. "You mean the woman he beat? The child he abandoned?" "That was 20 years ago," Emily started. "Actually, it was 23 years, 2 months, and 15 days ago," I corrected with precision that seemed to startle them. "I know because that's the day I met you crying in a grocery store, Emily, remember?" "You couldn't afford cereal for your daughter," Lily flinched. "Dad, please," she begged. "I'm getting to the punchline, aren't I?" I laughed, but it came out wrong, sharp and brittle. "He wants something." "What does he want?" The silence stretched until Lily broke it with a whisper. "He wants to walk me down the aisle." The world didn't end with a bang or a whimper. It ended with those 8 words, delivered by the daughter I'd raised, chosen, loved beyond reason. Instead of me, my voice sounded distant, like someone else was speaking. "No," Lily said quickly. "Not instead, with you. Both of you," she clarified desperately. "Both of us." I considered this. "The man who raised you and the man who abandoned you. Side by side, like equals." "You're not equals," Lily protested. "You're my dad. You'll always be my dad. But he's my father." The distinction hit like a physical blow. Dad versus father. 20 years of being there versus biology. Love versus blood. "I see," I said, standing up slowly, my legs surprisingly steady. "And you support this, Emily?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. "You support the man who gave you that bruise I saw that first day, the one you tried to hide with makeup, walking our daughter down the aisle?" I pressed. "He's changed, Daniel." "People can change," Emily finally managed. "Can they?" I walked to the mantel where our family photos stood like witnesses. Lily's first day of school, her high school graduation, the day the adoption was finalized. "Tell me, when did he change? Before or after he signed away his parental rights? Before or after I paid for 18 years of raising his child? Don't make this about money." Emily started defensively. "You're right. It's not about money," I agreed. "It's about showing up. Every soccer game, every school play, every nightmare, every fever, every heartbreak, every triumph. Where was he for those? Dad, you're getting upset. Lily tried to interject. No, Lily. I'm getting clarity, I corrected, turning to face them, and something in my expression made them both shrink back. How long have you been planning this? How long have you been in contact with him while I planned your wedding like a fool? 6 months, Lily admitted quietly. 6 months of lies. Not lies, she protested. What would you call it? You've been meeting with him, haven't you? Those lunches you said were with wedding vendors. The mysterious additions to the guest list. The closed doors, the ended phone calls, the laptop you slammed shut, I listed, laughing again with that same wrong sound. I'm an idiot. It was right in front of me. We didn't know how to tell you, Emily said weakly. So you ambushed me instead. Much better, I replied sarcastically. I walked back to my chair, sat down carefully. They watched me like I was a bomb they weren't sure how to defuse. What else? I asked calmly. There's more. There has to be. Lily and Emily exchanged glances. He wants to give a speech at the reception, Lily said quietly. And have a dance. A father-daughter dance? I asked. She nodded. To what song? The question seemed to surprise her. I don't know. We haven't discussed, she stammered. But you discussed him walking you down the aisle. You discussed the speech. You discussed the dance. You discussed everything except the man who's paying for it all, I pointed out. The tears started then. Lily's, not mine. I was beyond tears. I was in a place where everything was crystal clear and ice cold. I don't want to hurt you, she sobbed. You're my dad. You saved us. You gave us everything. Everything except the one thing you actually wanted, I said. Him. That's not true, she protested through tears. Isn't it? 20 years, Lily. 20 years of love, and you choose the man who walked away. What does that say about those 20 years? What does that say about me? Emily stood up, anger finally flashing in her eyes. You're being unfair. This isn't about choosing. It's about forgiveness, she snapped. Forgiveness, I repeated, standing too, matching her energy. Did he ask for my forgiveness? For leaving me to raise his child? For the therapy bills I paid because his daughter had abandonment issues? For the nights I held her while she cried about why her real daddy didn't want her? Did he ask my forgiveness for any of that? This isn't about you, Emily shouted. You're absolutely right, I agreed, and the fight went out of me all at once. It never was. I looked at them, these two women I'd loved more than my own life, and saw strangers. If that's what makes you happy, I said quietly, then that's what we'll do. They both froze. Clearly expecting more fight. Really? Lily asked, hope creeping into her voice. Really? I confirmed, heading for the door. I need some air. We'll talk about the details later. Daniel, Emily started. Later, I repeated, not turning around. They expected me to fight for my place in her life. Instead, I gave them exactly what they asked for. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat in my office with a glass of whiskey and a calculator, tallying up 20 years of investment. Not just money, though that total was staggering, but time, love, sacrifice. How do you quantify midnight fevers? What's the market value of teaching someone to drive? What's the price of being there? Apparently, it's worth less than DNA. By 3 a.m., I'd made my decision. By 4 a.m., I'd made my lists. By 5 a.m., I started making calls. The venue was first. Rosewood Manor's emergency line picked up on the third ring. I need to cancel the Hayes Brooks wedding, I stated calmly. Sir, it's 5 a.m. The woman on the line responded, confused. I'm aware of the time. The wedding is in 3 weeks. I'm canceling now, I insisted. There's a substantial cancellation fee, she warned. I'm aware. Please process it immediately, I instructed. The relief in my voice must have confused her, but she processed the cancellation. $12,000 gone. Worth every penny. Azure, the band, was next. They were surprisingly understanding. Apparently, wedding cancellations weren't uncommon in their business. The photographer required more convincing, but when I offered to pay her full fee anyway, she agreed. The florist, the caterer, the hotel block, the honeymoon suite in Santorini. One by one, I canceled everything I'd booked, everything I'd paid for, everything I'd lovingly arranged for a daughter who saw me as a placeholder. By the time Emily woke up at 7 a.m., I'd dismantled the entire wedding, but I wasn't done. I called my lawyer, Robert, who'd handled the adoption decades ago. "I need to know my options," I said after explaining the situation. "Jesus, Daniel." "I'm sorry," he responded sympathetically. "I don't need sympathy. I need information. The house is in my name. Emily's not on the deed. What are my options?" I pressed. "You can sell it. You can evict her with proper notice. You're not married, so there's no community property issue," he explained. "And Lily?" I asked. "She's an adult." "You have no legal obligations," he confirmed. "The wedding fund?" "If it's in your name alone, it's yours to do with as you please," he assured me. Perfect. The phone started ringing at 8 a.m. Emily first, then Lily, then Adrian. I didn't answer. Instead, I went to the bank. "I need to close an account," I told the teller, sliding over the wedding fund information. "The full balance?" she asked. "Every cent," I confirmed. $47,000. I took it in a cashier's check, then deposited it into my personal account, the one Emily didn't know about. The one I'd opened after my first divorce taught me the value of financial independence. The calls became frantic. Text messages flooded in. "Emily, the venue called. They said you canceled?" "What's happening?" Lily, "Dad, please call me. The photographer says she's not coming." "I don't understand." Adrian, "Mr. Hayes, Lily is hysterical." "What's going on?" I responded to Adrian only, "Ask Lily about her biological father. She'll explain everything." By noon, they'd figured it out. Emily's car screeched into the driveway. They burst through the door like avenging angels, faces red with rage and panic. "What have you done?" Emily screamed. "I gave you what you wanted," I replied calmly from behind my desk. "You wanted Jake to be Lily's father. Now he can be. Fathers pay for weddings, don't they?" "You canceled everything," Lily sobbed. "The venue, the band, the flowers, everything." "Yes," I confirmed simply. "But you said—" "Last night you said it was okay," she wailed. "I said if that's what makes you happy, then that's what we'll do. And that's what we're doing. Jake wants to walk you down the aisle? Perfect. He can walk you down whatever aisle he can afford," I explained. "The wedding is in 3 weeks," Lily cried out. "Then he better hurry," I suggested coldly. Emily stepped forward, rage radiating from every pore. "You vindictive bastard! This is about your ego," she accused. "No," I interrupted. "This is about consequences. You made a choice, both of you. You chose the man who abandoned you over the man who raised you. That's fine. That's your right. But choices have consequences. I never said I didn't want you there," Lily protested desperately. "No, you just said you wanted him there more." "Walking you down the aisle? That's the father's role, Lily. The real father." "And you made it very clear that's not me," I clarified. "That's not what I meant," she insisted. "Then what did you mean? Explain to me how having 2 men walk you down the aisle honors the one who was actually there," I challenged. She couldn't, because there was no explanation that didn't confirm what I already knew. I was the consolation prize. "The participation trophy. The money," Emily said suddenly. "The wedding fund. We need that money." "What money?" I asked innocently. "Don't play games." "The $47,000 for the wedding," she demanded. "Oh, that money." "That's gone," I informed her. "Gone where?" she pressed. "Into my retirement account." "It seemed like a better investment than a wedding for ungrateful people," I explained. "That money was for Lily," Emily shouted. "No, that money was mine." "I saved it. I earned it. I was choosing to spend it on a wedding for my daughter. But since Jake is her father now, he can pay for his daughter's wedding," I corrected. "He doesn't have any money," Lily wailed. "Then maybe you should have thought about that before you chose him over me," I suggested. Emily pulled out her phone. "I'm calling a lawyer," she threatened. "Go ahead. Call Robert Steinberg. He's excellent." "Oh, wait, he's my lawyer. Has been for 20 years, I reminded her. "You can't do this," Emily said, but the certainty was draining from her voice. "I can and I have, but I'm not done," I announced, standing up and pulling documents from my desk. "This is an eviction notice. You have 30 days to vacate the premises." "You're kicking us out?" Emily's voice cracked. "I'm kicking you out. Lily's welcome to stay if she wants, but something tells me she'll choose to go with you. She's good at choosing people who haven't earned her loyalty," I clarified. "Dad, please," Lily started. "Don't call me that," I snapped, the words coming out sharper than I intended. You made it clear last night. I'm just the man who raised you. Jake's your father. You're punishing me for wanting to know my biological father, she accused. No, I'm setting you free to know him, without my money in the way, without my house, without my support. Just you and him, building that relationship you so desperately want, I corrected. Adrian had been silent until now, but he finally spoke. Mr. Hayes, with all due respect, this is extreme. Is it? I asked, turning to him. Let me ask you something, Adrian. If you and Lily have children and you raise them, love them, sacrifice everything for them, and then one day they tell you that some stranger who abandoned them deserves equal billing in their lives, how would you react? He didn't answer. The wedding can still happen, I continued. Jake can pay for it. Hell, he can host it in his backyard for all I care. He can walk Lily down the aisle, give a speech, have his dance. Everything you wanted, you can have. Just without me and without my money. This is cruel, Emily whispered. No. Cruel was planning this behind my back for 6 months. Cruel was letting me plan and pay for a wedding while secretly preparing to humiliate me. Cruel was choosing the man who hurt you both over the man who healed you, I countered. My phone rang. I glanced at it, another wedding vendor. I need to take this, I said. It's the cake decorator. I need to make sure she knows to contact Jake about payment. You're a monster, Emily spat. No, I'm just done being a wallet with a pulse, I corrected. I answered the phone, giving them my back. Yes, this is Daniel Hayes. No, I won't be paying for the cake. You'll need to contact Jake Brooks. Yes, that's Lily's biological father. He'll be handling all wedding expenses from now on, I explained to the vendor. When I turned around, they were gone. But I knew they'd be back. They had nowhere else to go. The real estate agent came by that afternoon. Price to sell, I instructed him. I want it gone in 30 days. Any particular reason for the rush? He asked. Fresh start, I said simply. Jake showed up that evening. I'd been expecting him. He looked older, grayer, but with the same weak chin and shifty eyes I remembered from court documents. We need to talk, he said. No, we don't, I replied, starting to close the door. You're destroying Lily's wedding, he accused. I'm not doing anything. You want to be her father? Be her father. Fathers pay for weddings, I stated matter-of-factly. I can't afford, he started. Not my problem, I interrupted. You're doing this out of spite, he accused. I'm doing this out of clarity. For 20 years, I confused being used with being loved. Thanks to you, I'm seeing clearly for the first time, I explained. She's devastated, he said. Then comfort her. That's what fathers do, I suggested. He tried to puff up, to look threatening. You're going to regret this, he warned. I laughed, a real laugh this time. The only thing I regret is not seeing this coming sooner. Now get off my property before I call the police, I warned back. He left, but not before spitting on my doorstep. Class act, Lily's real father. The next 3 weeks were a blur of boxes and paperwork. Emily and Lily packed in hostile silence. I put my things in storage and rented a furnished apartment across town. The house sold in 10 days. Cash offer, quick close. The wedding day came and went. Adrian called to tell me they'd managed a small ceremony in Jake's backyard. 20 guests. Grocery store cake. Lily wore her mother's old dress. She cried the whole time, he said quietly. Not happy tears. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I think you should know that Jake got drunk at the reception and hit on my sister. Then he asked me for money to cover the catering. They'd ordered pizza, he revealed. And, I prompted, and Lily saw who he really is. She's been crying for 3 days, he continued. That's unfortunate, I said flatly. That's all you have to say? He asked, incredulous. What else is there? She made her choice. Now she gets to live with it, I stated. Adrian was quiet for a long moment. She wants to apologize, he finally said. No, I refused immediately. Mr. Hayes, he started. No, I repeated firmly. An apology now is just regret for consequences, not remorse for actions. She had 6 months to tell me the truth. She had 20 years to value what I gave her. She chose not to. That's not something an apology can fix. So that's it? You're just done? He asked. I walked away from 20 years of my life that night, and for the first time since my divorce, I felt truly free, I told him. 6 months later, I'm writing this from my cabin on Lake George. I bought it with the money I didn't spend on the wedding. Turns out $47,000 makes a decent down payment on peace of mind. The morning mist rises off the water like smoke. I've learned to fly fish. There's something honest about it. The fish doesn't care about your history, your sacrifices, or your good intentions. It only cares about the precision of your cast, the choice of your fly. Either you earn the catch or you don't. Robert, my lawyer, forwarded me an email from Emily last week. I didn't read it, but he summarized. They're living with her sister in New Jersey. The house sale left them with nothing since Emily had no legal claim to it. She's working 2 jobs. Jake disappeared again 3 weeks after the wedding. Apparently, sobriety is harder than making amends. Lily sent a letter to my office. My former secretary forwarded it. I did read that one. It was long, rambling, full of revelations she should have had before destroying everything. She wrote about seeing Jake steal money from Adrian's wallet. About him showing up drunk to her first day at her new job, embarrassing her in front of her colleagues. About Emily crying every night, missing the life they'd thrown away. She ended with, I understand if you never forgive me, but I need you to know that I know what I lost. You weren't just my dad. You were my father in every way that mattered. I just learned it too late. I burned the letter in my fireplace, not out of anger, but out of necessity. Some doors, once closed, need to stay that way. Adrian called yesterday. They're getting divorced. He couldn't watch her pine for the life she'd destroyed, couldn't compete with the ghost of what they'd had. She talks about you every day, he told me. About things you taught her, jokes you shared. It's like she's haunting herself. Why are you telling me this? I asked him. Because I loved her, and part of me wants to understand how someone could throw away what you two had, he admitted. When you figure it out, don't call me. I've stopped trying to understand. Some people don't recognize love until it stops feeding them. Some people can't value sacrifice until the well runs dry. And some people, I paused, watching an eagle dive for a fish. Some people are just broken in ways that all the love in the world can't fix. The sun sets differently here, quieter. Without the weight of unappreciated sacrifice, I sleep through the night for the first time in 20 years. I'm learning to cook for one. Turns out I'm pretty good at it when I'm not rushing home to people who were counting my money while planning my betrayal. There's a woman in town, Linda. She owns the bookstore. We have coffee sometimes. She doesn't know my story, and I like it that way. She thinks I'm just a retired businessman who likes Hemingway and takes his coffee black. Maybe that's all I am now. Maybe that's enough. Last week, I saw a father teaching his daughter to ride a bike in the town square. The little girl was about 4, the same age Lily was when I taught her. Same wobbling, same mixture of terror and determination. When she finally rode on her own, she screamed with joy, and her father ran behind her, arms outstretched, ready to catch her if she fell. I watched them until they disappeared around the corner. Then I went home and poured myself a whiskey, not to forget, but to remember. To toast the man I used to be, the one who believed love could be earned through sacrifice. He was a good man. He deserved better. I lost a wife and daughter that day, but I found something more valuable, myself. And myself? He knows now that real love doesn't require you to bankrupt your soul. Real love doesn't make you prove your worth every day for 20 years. Real love doesn't choose the person who hurt them over the person who healed them. Real love shows up. And when someone shows you they don't value your showing up, well, that's when you show yourself out. The lake is calling. The fish are biting. And for the first time in 20 years, I have nowhere else I need to be. That's not loss. That's liberation. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.